What's up, homies? Welcome back to the Out of Our Minds podcast. Today is a solo with me, Bella. Today I'm going to share with you an extremely powerful philosophy and approach to life that is going to help you feel so at peace, so fulfilled, to make decisions easily, and most importantly, to feel aligned no matter what life throws at you, no matter what your current circumstances are, no matter what your vision is of the future, no matter all of it, okay? This is going to be a powerful reminder of what this life game is really about. This is also going to clue you in further to what human design really does in terms of explaining what alignment is and how we subtly mix up our priorities, right? I talk a lot about human design on the podcast, in my work, and in our programs within the OM space. And a huge piece of this is becoming who you really are. And so we kind of break that down and we make it into almost this science, if you will, because the number one philosophy, yes, of human design, and also for myself, and something that of course, the Out of Our Minds podcast stands for, is this concept of who you are, or who you be, as we like to say. So I'm gonna help you to walk away from this feeling again like you have everything you need right now to create a dream situation right here and right now, right? That there's nothing outside of you, no final piece of the puzzle that has to come in from elsewhere in order for you to feel empowered, aligned, at peace, fulfilled, on purpose, all the things. And I'll just go ahead and apologize in case the audio production in post doesn't take out the noise coming from outside. I'm not in my typical recording situation, and there's some like buzzing or chainsawing going on outside, so I apologize if you can still hear that. Okay, so let's get into it. A common point of suffering among big dreamers, right? People like you who are visionaries and have, whether you qualified as a big dream or you just have a very clear vision of yourself, and you would say this is something that's quote unquote in the future. And this common point of suffering is this dance between what you are doing now and what you see in your ultimate vision. And we always are trying as best we can to not wait, right, till this quote unquote future outcome that never really arrives, and to just do now what you see yourself doing in the future, right? We connect to our vision. We say, who is this person? Who does she be? What is he doing? How do they walk? What's their frequency? But there is some truth to sometimes it can feel like there's this aspect of linear time that can result in having you feel like what you're doing now is going to be different than what the future holds. And what I mean here is sometimes we are in a bridge job, or sometimes we are in a certain role or relationship or a certain city or town that we live in, and it's good enough for now, but we just know it's not going to be the thing forever, right? This is a very common duality that we hold, right? We know that everything we need is in this now moment, but I want to break these concepts down a little bit more so you can feel empowered again if you are feeling maybe just like a little bit off, or like you are chasing alignment and you are hoping to change some life circumstance so that you feel more aligned. And there's a time and place for all of those things, but something that I have really stepped into as of lately, and that has really been culminating over the past few years, is this ultimate state of understanding the power of being. And that's what this episode is about. So sometimes we view today as a stepping stone toward the future, and that's totally okay, right? This is the dance. We know that we can create the dream frequency and the dream reality now, but we also enjoy a healthy linear timeline of taking these steps and realizing that, it's the journey itself instead of the end destination. And what I am getting at is that sometimes we can feel this question mark hanging over us. Like everywhere you go, no matter what you're doing, maybe a week ago it all felt good, and all of a sudden now you're like, wait, is this right? Do I like this? Is this my highest expression? And it's super normal to have this like existential check-in and just ask yourself, wait, is this really what I want to be doing, right? Is this really where I want to live? Is this really where I want to be? Whatever it is. And this question arising is incredibly sacred. I want you to really honor if that's where you're at right now and you're having these questions or these sensations come up, intuitive hits coming up that are questioning where you're at. And this is proof of the fact that we are always guided and that we are also meant to evolve and grow. And it points us towards this particular theme and this huge life lesson that God and the universe are always trying to get us to see, right? Like we have these subtle forces, these like invisible hands that are nudging us or opening doors for us or plopping existential questions in our head or bringing shadows up. And they're all supporting us in this journey of alignment and to get us to see this big lesson, which is what I'm going to talk about right now. This is the lesson of why being, capital B, all capital letters, B-E-I-N-G, being is the ultimate answer. Specifically, the truth that who you are, or as we like to say, who you be, is actually the most important thing of all. And it's funny because, as always, if you've been a long-time listener to the pod, I guarantee that you have heard us say the same core, like 5 sentences, and you nod and you're like, yeah, makes sense. But over your journey, these same core truths and lessons, if you will, and pieces of wisdom, they're going to start to hit different. And this is what's been happening to me, and it's been so magical, is all of a sudden I hear the term, it's who you be. And I'm like, oh my God, yes, it's literally who you be. And you almost chuckle because it actually is registering to you on like this DNA level. And if I just want you to think about how easy it is to switch around our priorities, meaning, you know, we go through school and college and just society in general, and we're always looking for the easy thing to pin ourselves to in terms of like a job title or what you do, right? The first like ingrained question when you meet someone is, oh, like, what do you do, right? Fine, totally innocent question. And we are always seeking to almost have this like easy to grasp onto 3D thing that's like, oh yes, I do this and that's what's aligned, right? That this is, you know, what I love to do. And this personal share that I'm bringing in here is kind of like the epitome of this whole lesson that I'm getting at, which is I used to really be hung up on the quote unquote job title, if you will, right? Like I was looking at the things that I was doing and trying to see whether or not those things were aligned, right? So it was like, oh, the job title of writer, the job title of this, or I see myself as a blank in the future. And I was just looking at the thing itself, right? As if it like existed as this own entity that I like sit at the desk at, okay? And it's so subtle, right? But it's instead of, you're basically saying, is the thing I'm doing really aligned versus am I myself aligned? And I know it maybe doesn't seem like it's so different, but let me keep explaining, okay? It's not that those things that we do or the place that we live or whatever that 3D structure is that you're engaging with, it's not that that doesn't matter. It's super important. But we are in this game where we're realizing that the frequency first approach can always be taken in effect to another level, or it's always remembered and then reintegrated on many levels the more we evolve and grow. And this is a point here in your journey where you get to take the frequency first approach to a greater level, okay? So notice how when we're asking, is this thing itself aligned, right? As if every decision we make is going to turn into this. This is a really good analogy. It's like imagining that there's just like all these different desks in life that you get to sit at. And there's a truth so that sometimes the frequency and the flavor of the desk is going to feel better for you. But really what's happening is we bring our frequency and we bring ourself to that desk and we are creating the experience. And what I'm pointing out here again is not that you can't be super specific about the job you want or what you want to be doing, right? These are all very important telltale signs. What I am pointing out here is in the moments where we start to feel like life is determining who we are and how we feel more than we are determining how we feel, this is where you get to rearrange the priorities and start to relate to things on a bit of a clearer level where you understand your role in it, okay? So To take this frequency first approach to a greater level, we're going to say, if every area of my life is an opportunity to be more me, how can I bring more of my essence to this thing? This is the solution to when we feel like maybe what we're doing now in the current life circumstance doesn't feel that aligned. And maybe it's the result of like past alignment and you're outgrowing it. But the way to not let that space in between be a reason for you to feel behind or out of alignment or again, like, oh, things aren't working out for me, right? Those would be the old stories to go into. Now, if you are in this like particular job and you don't love it, but for whatever reason you decided you're going to stay there, it's a bridge job or it works for right now, or you really enjoy the city that you're in, whatever details it is, then the best way for you to make that job actually aligned, or at least to fulfill you to the highest degree possible that it can, is to be as much of who you really are as possible in that context, to be as much of your real self as you can be in that context. This is what changes everything. And this is why human design supports this whole process. And when I say human design, it's just also bucketed into this general concept of aligning with your true soul blueprint, who you really are, who you came here to be. And human design in particular supports you in this alignment process because it's showing us that no matter where we are, who we find ourselves with, or what era of life that we are in, or what the circumstances are, there is always the choice available to you of who you be in those situations. I really want you to sit with this, okay? No matter what your life setup and structure looks like right now, the constant that is always there is your ability to choose who you are, how you respond, and how you express in that scenario. This is why being is the ultimate piece of the puzzle. It's the ultimate hack to this game. And this is why, if you do nothing else except learn how to follow your intuition, or what we would call your human design authority, your inner compass, and if you, all you did was day by day make micro adjustments and micro decisions that align with your soul, right? With your authority, which would be like either following your highest excitement, following this gut pull, or it would be receiving these little instinctive hits about where you're meant to go, who you're meant to be with, or what feels good emotionally. If you just follow those every single day, those are the things that micro turn the boat. Even if it's just 1 degree per day, that is accumulating over time and is tuning you into who you be. So this is a perfect example, okay? Whenever I am preparing for a podcast or a portal call or a client call, whatever it is, right? We're going on a trip. My number one question to myself is always, how can I just be more me? And maybe sometimes it sounds like, how can I just make this the most fun for me? Or how can I honor myself even more in this scenario? Notice how all of a sudden I have unplugged any cables and tethers that say this thing gets to define me, this place is going to make me feel this way or that way or up or down. And all of a sudden the power is back in the seat of my soul to choose how I want to show up to this thing. And the more, this has been my personal experience, and this has been what I see for other people that works every single time. The more that I tune into who I actually am, which means tuning into my authority. Me and my authority, we are a flex muscle. She is so strong. She is ripped because every single day I'm tuning into my gut and I give her A and B choices and I just feel into. And then I decide without feeling bad, because I know how this game works. I say yes or no if I want to do something or not. This is an example just coming from me. And the way that this relates to how I have really been able to feel so much more at peace with the flow of life is, for example, there are things I'm doing right now for my job, right? We're podcasting, we're hosting these group programs. I am, whatever, all these different little roles that I have that I've effectively made up for myself. They feel incredibly aligned. Now, it's not that I think this is going to be the be all end all and that it's this one thing I'm going to do forever, but they feel aligned because I show up to them as me. So whatever the opportunity is, if I go into it and I say, this is like a little spark that is going to invite me to bring a piece of my essence, my whole essence, and my gifts, anything to it, then I literally cannot lose. You cannot lose. You cannot not feel aligned in life when you realize alignment literally comes from within you. It like flowers from inside of you. It's the seed pressed into your chest that when you water it by listening to your authority and listening to your inner compass, everywhere you go, there's an opportunity for that flower to bloom even more, to show off its beautiful colors. So I really want to bring this down to 3 key takeaways. And these are going to be kind of like little action items for how you can integrate this. Before I get to those, I just want to emphasize how much this whole life game is really that you are here to be who you really are and make that essence seen and felt and experienced everywhere you go. And when you remember that, and then you re-remember it, and then you forget and you remember it again, that is what unlocks a whole different playing field of life, literally. Because it's not about finally finding the right physical desk with the job title engraved on the little plaque and sitting and saying, oh, finally, I'm finally the right job. No. It has never been about that. That job and that opportunity and those people and that market, all of the pieces of it that we would associate with being the 3D, literally come to you while you also find the clear path to them when you prioritize who you be. So by following those little instincts or that highest excitement or what feels good to you, right? When you tuned into that soul voice, it's like the path is created for you while you also create the path, right? You are co-creating it. But a piece of this thing that gets the whole ball rolling is listening to those little pings that the universe is sending you to help your soul come more online. Then you're going to find that desk because you created it. You're going to create the desk because you come to it. It's like literally imagining that there's, the plug and the piece that you plug into, right? Some analogy of there's like the thing that you plug into and the plug itself. The outlet and the plug, duh, oh my God. There's the outlet and there's the plug, okay? This is a co-creation. You plug into things and you bring this energy. And then you also get to decide how it gets shown and what color the light is, the hue of it, whatever, okay? You get the point. Now, these 3 big takeaways I want to give you, okay? Number 1, when life circumstances don't feel aligned and you feel disconnected or unfulfilled, I want you to turn toward yourself as the answer and to treat it like an experiment and say, okay, this is what it is for now. I accept that this is my life circumstance right now. For now, right? It could change, but for now, this is what it is. How can I dazzle this environment with more me? How can I bring more me to this? And this is where you remember you get to make up your own fucking rules. You get to literally play the game how you want. I tell this to myself all the time with client sessions. If I'm ever feeling like stuck in a certain way of showing up and doing something and guiding someone, I say, wait, I literally get to make this up. The more me it feels, the more exciting it feels, then that's actually going to be the biggest gift to this environment, the client, the whatever it is. And I show up and I just be more me. It's literally the solution to everything. It's crazy because it sounds so simple, but it's so profound. How can you just bring more of you to this thing? And if you are asking yourself and you're kind of thinking, well, I don't know who I am, how do I feel into that? That's okay. Micro moments, the little tiny things, right? We're connecting to your younger self, your inner child. Those little things that they seem silly, but they actually make a huge impact on the little ways that you can start to connect in with that little voice inside and say, I don't know what it is, but I just feel a little bit more lit up by that than this. Oh, this project proposal, this is kind of boring. I used to do it this way. What if I did it like this? Ooh, that feels really good. That is how you bring more you to whatever situation you're in, right? I was just talking to Nikki about how we were both traveling recently and how when you're traveling, sometimes with family, and it's kind of a lot of variables going on. People want to go to this, go to that, whatever. Whenever we can, just shut out the noise for a second, tune in and ask ourselves, how can we bring more of ourselves to this thing? Or how can we just honor our yes and no? Because we're generators, right? So we operate off of excitement. If we just tune into that a little bit more, then all of a sudden, traveling whatever situation you're in, it becomes a playground for you to be more you. And then of course you can compromise. You can say yes to this plan even though you don't really want to, but because all the other areas you've been accumulating that feeling of alignment and being who you really are, the other areas are much easier to go along with the flow, right? Just as an example. Okay, number 2, your human design authority. This is your compass, okay? This is what allows you to not worry so much about the big picture to the degree that that big picture is stressing you out, right? If the vision is expanding you and it's dropping you into a daily frequency, great. But sometimes that vision that's quote unquote out there and these ideas that we have that we think would be more aligned, which, they will be, right? It's a timeline that already exists that you're feeling into. But that all gets dropped into in this present moment through your authority, through your highest calling. And to trust that every micro decision that you are making that is in alignment with who you are, even if that changes every single week, even if it's completely inconsistent, that will produce a feeling and a state of alignment that will inevitably allow the bigger picture and the pieces of the bigger picture to fall into place. We are reorienting the pieces of what we were told is how we make things happen in this reality, and remembering how deep this idea of frequency first and being first goes, right? Like the be do have formula, hyper focusing on the be part and realizing that that being actually includes the doing, right? Your intuition is going to tell you, oh, I'd actually like to go do this because it makes me it's like that feeling of, okay, if I am this whole complete self and I am this pure essence, that essence is going to speak to you and is going to move you toward the places that are like then a little puzzle piece that you can bring your energy to. So your human design authority is that place to come back to. It's so simple, but this is always why we brush it off when we say, oh, it can't be that simple to just say yes to my excitement. No, it literally is that important. Or whatever your authority is, right? Splenic authority of tuning into those little instinctive hits and prioritizing those and just having fun with it, right? Being curious about where are my weird instinctive hits going to take me. The more you follow that, that is how you find alignment no matter what the circumstances are. Now, the third thing is to focus on what you can quote unquote control in quotes, because control is kind of like an illusion itself, but focus on what you can control, meaning guess what? You always have a say over, okay? No matter what the situation is, the life circumstance, the up, the down, the whatever it is, you and your frequency, you and your essence, how you show up, how you respond, how you engage with that situation. I want to remind you to notice any of the slight ways that you may be giving your power away to literally anything big or small, and realize that you can always set the tone by being you, by focusing in more on your being, the frequency that you show up with, and the honoring of what is coming through you. So to wrap this up, I just want to open myself up to share anything else that's coming through, because I really want this to speak to just your soul here, if there's anything you are moving through right now. Yeah, this is just always an invitation. Life is giving you these mirrors, these opportunities. And when you think, it's like it gets really tempting, and it gets almost even more masked, the idea that it's something outside of you again. I'm not saying that the 3D reality is not important. It's not what I'm saying at all. Trust me, I fully understand the power of, how there's a realness to how things affect us, certain friend groups, certain places. Like that is real, okay? But this conversation is for anyone who knows deep down that this is a time to come back to their center, to let their insides determine the outsides, and to realize how freaking powerful it is to be in your being, to prioritize your essence. And I think I'll just finish on sharing a bit about how this has impacted me, because again, this is something that used to be a big point of suffering for me. As I remember I would have conversations with Nikki about being like, okay, we're doing this now, but how is this going to lead to this in the future? Like, okay, yes, this feels good now, but what if I want to do this in the future? Am I supposed to just wait? Does this mean this? Like, I would swirl and spiral about these things. And the more and more that I made room for showing up to whatever it is in my life as me, so many of these questions literally completely melted away. It's actually wild to me how much I have loosened the grip on needing the future to look in a specific way, or even needing my present, this is the bigger one, needing the present reality to look a certain way. Because I realize every day I wake up is a gift from this universe for me to tune into who I be and to make that expressed and seen and felt by me first and foremost, and then by the world. When you approach life that way, you're always winning, you're always aligned, and best thing yet, you then actually get to play with the 3D aspects in a much more fun way, because you realize that it's always been the energy you bring to it. And then it becomes a co-creation. Then you get to peruse the work desks with the different work titles and show up to the one that really calls to you. But you're going to know that it calls to you because you're tuned in to who you actually are, the truth of your being. So thank you so much for listening. And I really hope this landed for you. Send me a message if this was impactful for you. I'd love to know what you are moving through right now. We always love to hear from our community and our listeners, and just be connected and understand where you're at. It's always so beautiful, and it usually tends to be the case that whatever we share on the pod resonates with you guys, because we always say we're one soul family. Okay, thank you so much for listening. I'm so grateful that you're here. If you are watching this on YouTube, please like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe. That is how we are able to reach more people like you and really grow this beautiful community. And make sure you check all the links and the notes in the description for the latest stuff that we have going on, whether that's our membership. Our waitlist is open if you're listening to this before the fall of 2025 for the next round of the portal. Check it all out. We love you so much, and we will see you on the next one. Bye.